Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the population growth, climate change, and global warming. So, as we know, the population of a country or any country increases, it will have impact or it will have greater demand of its natural resources. Some countries have abundant natural resources such as good agriculture land, energy resources, or mineral resources, whereas others have poor resources. Thus, some countries can sustain high populations while others cannot. That means whoever will be having lower resources cannot sustain the high populations. So what do you mean by population growth? It refers to the increase in the number of individuals in a population over time. It depends upon mainly four factors. The first one is natality, birth rate, increases populations, mortality, death rate, where there is a decrease in population due to death, and immigrations, entry of individuals into a population area. It happens when the people from the other locations joins in a particular location or particular city, the population increases. If the immigration means exit of individual from a population area, that means if the population from a particular area are going to exit or going to relocate themselves, in that case population of that area will decrease. So the rate of population growth can be expressed uh, by this equation. Dn by dt is equal to b minus d plus 1 minus c, I minus c. So n is equal to population size, t is the time, b is the birth, d is the deaths, I is the immigrants, and e is the immigrants. So what are the different types of population? So first one is the exponential growth or geometric growth. Whenever we are going to draw a graph in between the population and time, we can get a curve pertaining to exponential growth. And this curve, the J-shaped curve, this curve represents unchecked or unlimited population growth. When resources such as food, space, and shelter are abundant, the population grows rapidly. Initially, the growth is slow, we can see by the graph also, but it soon becomes very rapid because each generation produces more off-screens, or we can say issues will be more compared to the previous one or the last. The population rises slowly at first and then shoots upward like a letter Z, shown by a, in the form of a J-shaped curve. J-shaped curve. So exponential growth curve equation we can write dn by dt is equal to r into n, where n is the population size, r is called as intrinsic rate of natural decrease, that is nothing but birth rate minus death rate is equal to r. So next type of population growth we can see, that is called a logistic growth curve. Yeah, logistic growth. So in this case also, if you are going to draw a graph in between the population and time, we can say the S-shaped curve is going to be formed. What it explains here, this curve represents realistic population growth where resources are limited. Resources means food, water, or shelter. Thus, population cannot grow indefinitely because of the limited resources. Growth starts exponentially, but when resources become limit, the growth slows down and stabilizes. This is known as logistic growth. The logistic growth curve equations we can write by the dn by dt is equal to r into n into 1 minus n by k. So dn by dt is nothing but rate of change of population size. R is equal to intrinsic rate of natural increase, is also called a growth rate. K is the carrying capacity, maximum population the environment can support. This is the carrying capacity K. So carrying capacity can also be explained as it is the maximum number of individuals that an environment can sustain indefinitely without being degraded. It is determined by availability of resources, food, water, and shelter, and environmental conditions. When the population size reaches K, that is the carrying capacity, in that case, birth rate is equal to death rate, and population growth stops or becomes stable as the carrying capacity, the curve reaches to the carrying capacity. The next topic we can see the climate change. That means a significant and long-term change in the global or regional climate patterns, often identified by rising average temperatures, altered rainfall patterns, and increased frequency of extreme weather events. We can see here the extreme weather events means these are the weather occurrence that are much stronger, longer lasting, or more damaging than what is normally experienced in that area. That is called as extreme weather events. So, what are the causes of climate change? The first one is the natural cause, the volcanic eruptions, in which release of large amounts of dust and gases like carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere takes place, which definitely temporarily affect the climate. The solar variation also comes from the natural causes. Changes in solar energy output affects earth temperatures. Ocean currents, change in ocean circulations can alter climate patterns. This also comes under the natural causes. Earth's orbit changes affect distribution of sunlight on Earth's surface over thousands of years. So next, climate change, the causes of climate change is the human causes or anthropogenic causes. In this case, we can see burning of fossil fuel like coal, oil, or gas. This can release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane. Deforestation also comes under the human causes. If deforestation is there, definitely the CO2 absorption is going to be reduced because of the cutting of the tree or deforestation. Industrial activities, it definitely it emits the greenhouse gases and aerosols. What do you mean by aerosol? Aerosol also emits by the industrial activities, which is nothing but tiny solid or liquid particles that are suspended in the air. And the next human causes are agriculture, produce methane from the livestock and nitrous oxide from fertilizers from the agriculture field. Next, the human causes are the urbanizations, increases heat absorptions, which is also called as urban heat island effect. Urban heat island effect means what? What does it mean? In cities, natural vegetation and soil are replaced by concrete, asphalt, and building because the people are going to have their own houses. So vegetations are going to be removed. So in that case, what is going to happen? These materials, that means concrete, asphalt, and buildings, absorbs and store more heat from the sun than the natural surfaces. As a result, urban areas become hotter than the surrounding rural areas, a phenomenon known as urban heat island. So what are the effects of climate change? It is going to have impact on hydrological cycle, which will result in floods and droughts in different regions of the world, can cause sea level rise, change in agricultural productivity. Famines and death can also occur, as well as the livestock. That means the death of humans as well as the livestock are going to be affected due to the climate change. The next topic we can discuss here, global warming. Global, it refers to the long-term increase in the Earth average surface temperatures due to rise in concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmospheres. Greenhouse gases in the atmospheres, normally what happens, trap parts of the sun heat, keep the earth warm enough for life. However, excessive greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxides, and chlorofluorocarbons trap too much heat, leading to the global warming. From this table, we can see what are the various types of greenhouse gases: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbons, and from which sources these gases are going to be generated or emitted: burning of coal, oil, gas, deforestation. We can say due to that activity, due to these sources, the contribution is 60%. So the methane, the agriculture, landfills, fossil fuels are going to contribute 20% of the greenhouse gases. Nitrous oxides are going to be generated by fertilizers, biomass burning, which will contribute 6% of the greenhouse gases. Chlorofluorocarbons, refrigerants, aerosols, that it will contribute 14% of the greenhouse gases. So we can see what are the effects of global warming: a rising temperature worldwide, melting of glaciers and polar ice caps will take place. Sea level will rise because of the melting of glaciers, causing coastal flooding, extreme weather events, heat waves, droughts, floods, cyclones. The droughts will also take place. Loss of biodiversity and ecosystem will imbalanced. Change in the rainfall patterns will take place, which will affect the agriculture. Diseases will also spread due to warmer climates. So these are the effects of global warming. So what are the measures by which we can control the global warming? To slow down the enhanced global warming, we can follow these following steps. We can cut down the current rate of use of chlorofluorocarbons and fossil fuels. Shift to renewable energy resources. That means we should move towards wind energy, solar energy, water energy, or hydropower energy, we can say. Increase nuclear power plants for electricity productions. Shift from coal to natural gas. Trap and use methane as a fuel. So how we have to control the global warming? By decreasing the amount of greenhouse gas emission. So the stabilized population growth, this is also required to control the global warming. Efficiently remove CO2 from the smoke stacks. We should plant more trees. So these are about the today topics. So in this topic, we studied about the population growth. What are the different types of population growth? What do you mean by climate change? What are the various causes of climate change, natural causes, human causes? We also studied about the effects of climate change. What do you mean by global warming? How greenhouse gases are going to be generated from different sources and their contributions in greenhouse effects of global warming and control also we discuss in details. Thank you.